Welcome to the Equity Team Podcast, where we provide Sedona, Arizona real estate insight to help you thrive during your next real estate transaction.
Welcome back, investors, to another episode. I'm Chad McMahon with the Equity Team, short-term rental investment and luxury specialists. And today we've got a special guest, Tammy. Tammy is a client, and she's also a property manager. And Tammy, thanks for joining us. This is awesome.
Thank you, Chad.
You bet. You bet. So as always, I've got a bunch of questions. I'm just going to dive in because I want this to be, the whole goal is always is good information for our audience. So really helpful stuff. So the first thing is when we were going through the purchase kind of process, how was that process for you? Being in escrow and inspections, how did that go for you?
Well, for us, it was quite a whirlwind. The escrow part, the loan part was fine. You know, they just needed a bunch of documents every single day. But for me, as you know, this was already a short-term rental and it was already on all the platforms and it had existing bookings after our closing. So I had to kind of, other than getting all the documents together, learn all the tech, figure out my listing, figure out my cleaner, all in what I considered a pretty short amount of time. So it was a lot, but it was great. And now I know it all. I've learned. It was a great learning experience for me. So
yeah, it was a crash course for you, that's for sure. And just to further clarify for our audience, so with this particular property, it was managed by a local short-term rental property manager, and you decided, and I'm really glad you decided to do this. It's such a good fit for you, but you decided to self-manage this puppy. And so you really had to find your own network of resources, and you found some really great people really quickly, and you're crushing it. You're doing it phenomenally well.
Thank you. So, yeah, it was really important to us when we went into this. I didn't want to just pay the bills and collect the checks and have nothing to do with it. We have been a guest on Airbnb or whatever platform for so many years. And we've had such great interactions with the hosts, and they've really been able to make our experience what it was. And I just wanted to do that for other people. I wanted to show people a good time, you know. Guest communication is a huge thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so critical, not just for the reviews, but it is so critically important all around. Now, for other investors, just so that you know, if you're considering self-managing, some people, like myself included, by the way, I don't self-manage because I am so crazy busy and I'm so hyper-focused on helping my clients, you know, acquire these properties and get them to the point where they are successful short-term rentals as quickly as humanly possible, so that you're not just floating it out there, making mortgage payments or whatever it may be with no income. So I just focus on that, and I don't want to manage, and I don't have room in what I'm doing for management. But if you're considering self-management, just know that most of the resources that you're going to need in terms of local laborers and all of that, most of that I have that for you, and I can help you. In this case, you know, thanks to Tammy, I actually have a new cleaner on my list who's absolutely phenomenal. And but I've got, you know, a lot of those other things that you would need. And just like with Tammy's really picked it up quickly, and she's done a ton of her own research as well. But I can also help give you guidance so that you're able to, you know, to transition into that self-management role. Now, how is your property doing now?
Well, it's great. I mean, we came out of the gate with a bunch of reservations on the books. And so it was great because we were able to start with, you know, get reviews right away. So that was awesome. We've been busy the whole time. However, bookings have, it kind of went into a little bit of a lull there, kind of in the beginning. So what I did is I kind of reviewed the listing, which I really just copied from that property manager. I copied everything she had. It was enough just to learn everything. And, you know, because I wanted to make these people feel comfortable that they were coming to the same place. So I didn't want to change anything about it. So I did look at the listing and discovered there were a few things about it that could be tweaked. I did a few changes here and there, and bookings started again. So I don't know if that was just coincidence or what, but I'm going with it. And it seems like at the end of each month, we've just filled up. So, and I think a lot of our reservations are from Phoenix and last minute, which is awesome because hopefully they'll be repeat guests.
That's right. Yeah, and that can really feed direct bookings and things like that in the future as well.
Yeah.
And by the way, just to kind of pile on there, not only did things pick up for you with bookings, but I know it comes in waves, but it really kind of exploded for you. I mean, you had one day in particular, as I recall you telling me, you had 3 bookings come in on one day, and that's a good feeling. When you see
it was
that.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah, so it's filling up and it's doing great. I know it's going to be an awesome 2024 for that property. By the way, one little piece of clarification. This one happens to be in Cottonwood. A lot of clients, they want short-term rentals in Sedona. Some clients, they want them in Cottonwood. It depends on a lot of factors. But in this case, it was absolutely perfect. Everything lined up like the planets just aligned, and for this property in Cottonwood for you. So
for sure. They really did. Yeah. I remember looking over Airbnb, the kind of the listings and their schedules just to see, are people even booking here? And as I was randomly looking through, I saw the listing for this house, and in my bratty little voice, I said, I just want that house. That's the house I want. And then you texted us 2 weeks later and said, hey, I think I found the perfect place for you.
Yeah.
And I took a look at it and I said, oh, wow. Yep, he did. He found the perfect one.
Yeah. Yeah. And that property, of course, you know this, but no one else does. That property, it was owned and rented out by other clients of mine that decided to sell. They were kind of liquidating stuff here and moving to a different area. And their occupancy was good. It was solid. But of course, yours is now better. Yours is outperforming how it was before. But yeah, it's just worked out perfectly. And that day that I reached out to you, I knew that I was going to be listing it for sale. And so we were able to start talking about it. And then, I put it on the market, and a few hours later, or less than a few hours later of it being on market, we had that in contract and just move forward. It was really pretty easy. So what would you say really cool. about, it was really cool. It worked out perfectly. Yeah. It was just amazing. So what would you say about your property that has really helped your short-term rental performance?
I would say the hot tub. I mean, I get so many messages from people, especially the existing reservations. I think I have 2 to get through still, but I feel like a lot of those people message me and say, hey, is the hot tub still there? Is the hot tub working? We're so excited to soak after a day of adventure or whatever they say. And so I think it's the hot tub, and I think the location in general. It's a pretty amazing location. The front of the house is it's a beautiful, clear view to the open space and Mingus Mountain.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people forget that Cottonwood has nice views too. It's not just Sedona. And it helps. It's not necessary to have that, but it's a boost all around. It's a boost to property value and your cash flow and the whole bit. So really helps with occupancy, really helps with reviews, a lot of important things like that. Now, I know, because I've been to your property many times with you and all of that, and I know you've already made some improvements to that property, both cosmetically, both functionally. So do you plan to make, and of course, I already know a lot of this answer, but it's good for other people to hear it themselves too. Do you plan to make further improvements to the property to kind of further boost your ADR, your occupancy, things like that?
For sure. Yeah. One thing I was going to say is that we were there for a bit in February and were able to change the entire garage into a game room. So I do believe that will be a draw, like in terms of your last question. I think that's going to be a future draw. We did just have pictures retaken, so now it's finally up and people can see. But also we did a privacy fence around the entire backyard which I think is super important because unlike the front of the house, the back of the house, it's such a huge property that I think I have like 4 or 5 different properties that kind of join up to the back of mine. And, you can just see right in. There's no privacy at all. Some of them have dogs that love to bark when they see people coming out. And it's just not it wasn't very inviting. So I think the privacy fence is the first of many things we will do in that backyard to make it more inspiring for people to kind of want to hang out there. And we really want to match the vibe of the outside with the vibe of the inside, which is awesome.
That's good.
So, and in terms of what we are planning on doing, we are going to do new siding on the house and new windows. We are going to change a few existing windows to sliding glass doors, just to kind of create, again, just a nice, seamless indoor-outdoor vibe. And more for really the functionality of the house as well as making it prettier in pictures. It's an older property, and I believe that the siding and the windows are probably as old as the property. So it just needs to be done. But
I agree.
And we'll
it's going to look
probably
amazing.
put a swim spa. I think it's going to be great. And the biggest thing, we're going to follow your advice and do the swim spa. So I think that'll be awesome.
Yeah, you're already seeing great occupancy and all of that, but it's going to further boost that. And it's going to help you with things like, one of our biggest challenges when we own these short-term rentals is those weekdays, those pesky weekdays, because you'll get your weekends, they get booked, and then it's really hard on those weekday chunks, 3-4 day stretches that are just sitting there, vacant. And that's okay. But when you have things like swim spa or an in-ground pool, something like that, people will book longer stays there too. It really helps with those days. And of course, that just feeds everything. Not only do you make more money with higher occupancy on those months, but it's going to book out more and benefit your future months because bookings build on bookings. It just works that way.
Exactly.
Now, Tammy, I know you've shared a lot of info with me, and obviously I know the property well. It's really clear to me with everything I know about your eye for detail and your attention to quality and your bookings and your rates and reviews and the guest experiences that you're having that are really positive. That you have a real knack, a real gift for the short-term rental property management. So as I understand it, you are accepting a small number of clients right now, clients and properties right now. So is that correct, first of all? And is there anything you want to add to that?
Well, thank you, first of all, for saying that.
I speak my mind,
nice
as you know. I speak my mind.
Yeah. I mean, I have discovered it's a huge passion of mine. Yes, I am taking on just a very few amount of clients at this point. Starting slow is a good thing. Like we said, this is our first STR. This is my first little bit of hosting. I know I love it. I do have 30 years. I am that old of customer service. I've been in that industry for a very long time. So I have a lot of experience with that. So that's what I can bring to the table for sure. Guest communication, all of that. But yeah, I have not been doing this for long, but I think I'm good at it. And I want to get better. I want to learn. I'm a fast learner. And I'm taking on people for sure. I love it.
That's awesome. Now, as you know, leveraged marketing and effective property management, they're two of the most critical factors that determine the success of a short-term rental. There are a lot of other factors too, but they're really, really important. So you seem to have those parts nailed. And what are a few unique short-term rental property management things that you do that kind of help with that short-term rental performance? Anything that comes to mind that you feel is unique that you add to the equation?
Well, besides my eye for detail down to the smallest thing of what I know people will want and like at
Yeah.
a short-term rental. I will come into the home and spend a few days there just to get to know every single little piece of that home, every corner, every quirk. And that's when I would do the house manual, the digital guidebook, and really just kind of get a feel for the place, get to know what it needs. And and I'm working with a great designer too for anybody who needs like more of a full setup.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I think is really underrated, and I was really impressed with what you had done at your property, is your guidebook. It's the best, most modern, easy to use, well-informed, easy to look at guidebook I've ever seen at a short-term rental. And I didn't tell you that before. So it's very, very good. You know, it has a lot of resources like QR codes throughout the home and in the guidebook and things like that. That's just one of many things that you do, so that it's so easy for people to know what to do with the hot tub, what to do with whatever it is, the fireplace, and on and on and on. So that is something that's, I think, more important than ever. And as now short-term rentals are so popular and so trendy and so comfortable, people are used to staying in areas that way. And guidebooks are something that people are almost automatically reading. As soon as they have a spare second after they've gotten in, they set their bags down, they go to the bathroom, and then it's guidebook time. And they, pull out the guidebook and they want to, that's where you find your Wi-Fi info. Usually it's on a wall too, but find your Wi-Fi info and they get that right away. And then they kind of flip through it and they figure out what's going on with the property. And so it is really important, and it helps to shape the experience for the guests, which of course has a lot to do with the reviews. So last thing I wanted to ask you, Tammy, is for investors that are out there that are considering hiring you as a short-term rental property manager, is the service that you're offering, is it a full service, meaning where you just take care of everything and they basically just they get the check in the mail or however you do that, or do they have a more involved role, or how does that work?
Full service, baby.
Cool.
Yep.
Sounds good. Yeah, sounds really good. It tends to be what most people want, and I think that's really critical, because if you're going to be good at it and you're going to handle that property management, then might as well really handle that property management and make sure that they're successful. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Awesome. Tammy, thank you so much. This was great. I really appreciate it. I know that the investors out there, the audience, they appreciate it too, because you can help other people feel more comfortable about the whole process. And I'm glad this has worked out so great for you. And I'd love to have you on again at some point.
For sure. I'd love it.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chad.
Thank you, Tammy. And investors out there and audience out there, reach out anytime when I can help you answer questions, address concerns, whatever it is. Let's get you out there and building your investment portfolio and making some money. All right. Stay safe out there.
Thanks for tuning in to the Equity Team Podcast. To speak with one of our top agents, visit us at owninaz.com. That's owninaz.com. Or call us at 928-323-0031.